Morning, Bordar. Welcome, everybody. Croeso to the first of four sessions looking at artificial intelligence, the big buzz at the moment around education in the world, around the use of AI and how that's going to look for us as educators and for leaders, but also for our learners and our students moving forward. My name is Sean Powell. I am the Associate Curriculum Partner for Digital Skills within the AS. My contact details are on the screen there. So if you do want to contact me following today's session regarding any of the things that pop up today, please do so. This is also Sean Powell, but in AI form. Looks a bit thinner and has got a bit more hair, which is great. And also this is Sean Powell, but in Lego form, with a lightsaber and some Iron Man t-shirts. So lots of things that can be done with AI, and hopefully throughout today's session we'll touch on in a light way what AI can do for us, what it is, what it isn't, and some of those potential sort of risks and pitfalls, but also the benefits of AI use in our schools as well. So in terms of our agenda, hoping to cover three separate things today. The first one being, what is artificial intelligence? What is it? What isn't it? The second being, what is generative AI? So what is generative AI? What can it do for us? And then also to consider how we could potentially use generative AI in our work as well. This is the first, like I said, of four sessions. The second session, which I'll share at the end of today's session, is about developing guidance in your school and how you can support learners, again, teachers and leaders within your school around the use of AI. The third session then will look at how you as teachers and leaders can use AI to support you in your role and how you can become effective at prompt craft. And the fourth session then will look at artificial intelligence in your curriculum. How are we teaching about the safe, appropriate and ethical use of artificial intelligence as part of our school curriculum? So they're the four sessions. Today, like I said, is the introduction to what artificial intelligence is, a light touch, so just to give you a further understanding and to demystify some of those concerns around the use of AI. Just to start us off then, most of the content that's been developed and generated from today hasn't just come from me. It has been provided by both Microsoft and Teach AI, two really powerful and big organizations who are doing a lot of work around the use of artificial intelligence. And I'd highly recommend you look at some of the tools in the Microsoft Learn Hub, but also on the Teach AI website to help you develop your further understanding, your deeper understanding of what artificial intelligence is and what AI can do for you in your role. But to start us off from Microsoft, a little introduction to what AI is. So just a little introduction there to AI and what it can do for us there from Microsoft. And I think the key thing there is it's going to be a tool that is going to support our learners to move forward with their learning experiences, providing those personalized learning opportunities. And it'd be really interesting to see over the coming years how we can really dig down into providing those really personalized experiences so that everybody has that opportunity to develop and learn. And this is a really interesting quote here from McKinsey & Company, and they talk about, and they said, we'll experience more technological progress in the coming decade that we did in the preceding 100 years put together. So more things will happen in the next 10 years than the last 100. But I would just like to throw it out to the chat and a bit of interactivity, whether you do this in the chat as well, or whether you'd like to shout out using your microphone. But if you think about technological advancements in the last 100 years, what things have we had? I could start off in the last 100 years, things like the internet have come about, but what other technological advancements have we had in the last 100 years? So feel free to drop an answer in the chat or please shout your answers out. Yeah, development of social media, Liz, absolutely spot on. So social media platforms, thinking about Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, starting it from his college. The washing machine, 100%, yeah. Mobile phones, personal computer, portable devices, smart tablets, yeah. Any more? Yeah, absolutely. Space exploration, yeah, thank you. I had that one down. Humans on the moon, electric cars, the telephone, televisions, robotics, the microwave. Lots of different ideas. Thanks everyone. Coding devices, GPS, yeah, huge amount of technological advancements in the last 100 years. But they're saying that in the next 10 years, we're going to have even more than that, which is exciting, but also, I suppose, potentially quite scary for some people. So it's about, for us, navigating that process now to ensure that our learners are ready and have the skills and the resilience to be able to use this technology as they move through their learning journey, but also then into the wider world of work. So again, just out to the chat, what AI tools are you already familiar with? What things have you been using, or what things do you know of or have heard of in the news? So yeah, we've got ChatGPT, probably the biggest hitter there. Teach AI. We've got the Bing Image Creator, yeah, fantastic. Adobe Firefly. Teachmate, yeah. Perplexity, new one to me, Martin. See, even learning myself, thank you. The Adobe Creative Cloud generative AI tools, Magic School. Any more for any more? Surprise, nobody said Copilot. But thank you for that, guys. Some of the big hitters that we've seen, things that might have come out and you might be aware of, are these kind of three big hitters, the big companies really that are pushing their AI tools. The first one being ChatGPT, and that kind of exploded onto the scene now about 12 months ago. The use of ChatGPT to support your work and things that you're doing. We've also got then the Microsoft Copilot tool, which is a really powerful tool that has been is using the GPT-4 engine to be able to provide real support for people using the Microsoft ecosystem. But also then you may have heard of sort of Google Bard, or it's been rebranded now, I think, as Gemini. So they're the three kind of big tools and big hitters, along with the things that we've seen coming through in the chat there as well. So lots and lots out there, and I think it's for us, it's a challenge to be able to navigate that, making sure that we use these tools both appropriately, ethically, and responsibly as well. So hopefully as we go through these 4 sessions, we'll get to a point where we'll be able to use a lot of these tools in that way. But then when we consider AI, things that might be around us that we didn't really mention there, voice assistants like Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant, they allow us to perform a range of tasks, things like setting reminders and alarms, to controlling our smart devices. But they all work using artificial intelligence. They use something called natural language processing, or NLP, and machine learning to understand what we're saying and provide us with the appropriate responses. Things like, have you ever noticed on Facebook how it always seems to know what you're interested in? And that's because the social media giants will use AI to analyze our activity and provide us with personalized content. Things like targeted ads, suggested friends, and even things like news articles. Twitter will also use AI to analyze and filter tweets, which will help in their kind of pursuit of users only seeing the most relevant and useful content to them. And I think social media is going to have a massive thing to play now. We consider things like the election coming up, and people are concerned around the use of AI to push messages and ideas to certain people based on their habits. If we think about the smart home devices, such as thermostats, light bulbs, security systems, they all use AI to learn our preferences and adjust their settings accordingly. For example, a smart thermostat can learn when you're typically at home and then adjust the temperature to when you're home to when you're out. A smart security system can learn what is normal and can alert you if something out of the ordinary seems to happen in your home. Again, thinking about when you shop online, you're often presented with personalized recommendations. That's because online retailers will use AI to analyze your shopping behavior and suggest products that are likely to interest you. This is not only making shopping more convenient, but it will also help retailers to increase their sales as well. And then when we consider the healthcare industry, AI-powered chatbots are now beginning to provide patients with advice and support in real time. AI can also be used to help analyze medical data, such as X-rays and CT scans, to help doctors make more accurate diagnosis. AI is being used in finance, transportation, education, many other industries. And in fact, it's probably harder now to think of an industry that isn't being impacted by AI in some way. Now, these are just a few examples of how we're already using artificial intelligence in our daily lives, on top of the list that you've already suggested in the chat there. Now, we're seeing artificial intelligence in the news everywhere. This is an article here where somebody had generated images of Pope Francis in different attire, and this was posted in the New York Times. We see articles around AI using scam emails and making them look genuine, and that's a real concern for sort of UK cybersecurity agencies. We see articles again talking about the use of deep fake videos to impose faces on characters and people such as Rishi Sunak around the election. We also see articles around how AI is going to worsen inequality and how that's going to change the workforce moving forward. Generated faces, are you able to spot real ones and fake ones? And also things such as AI-powered music. And there was an article recently where a Drake and the Weeknd song was removed from streaming services because it was basically too alike, and it was generated by AI as well. So lots and lots of things in the AI, the news around AI, lots of it probably quite negative. And I think it's really important that we see the negative, but also understand that the benefits that we're going to have from AI moving forward. But something else I wanted to highlight was this image on the screen here. And this is something I saw very recently. And basically in February 2023, Osaka University in Japan released an academic paper where they had trained an AI model to understand MRI scans. Now, what they did was they got participants to view a job lot of stock photos, thousands and thousands of photos, and they put those MRI scans into the AI model. Now, because they got the participants to view tens and tens of thousands of images, the AI MRI machine began to learn what an MRI scan would look like based on the shapes and the colours within the photos that they were viewing. They actually then got to the point where they asked the participants to think of an image. Now, the images that those participants thought of are in the red squares at the top of the screen. They then took the MRI scan and fed it into the AI model, which then produced the images in the black squares at the bottom of the screen. How powerful is that? That AI is now able to pick up from MRI scans. It's basically reading our mind. And I think that's really, really, it's incredible what AI is going to be able to do for us moving forward. So just some introduction there, I suppose, around to what AI is. So why then is AI an important topic for us moving forward? And I've got some sort of stats and information to share from Teach AI as a global base around why it's important for us. So here, this one talks about 7% of education systems provide guidance about the use of generative AI. So that kind of is highlighting a lack of specific AI guidance around the use in the classroom, and it's a bit of a widespread problem. So it's not unique just to us, but this is a global problem as well. Now, remarkably, a mere 5% of educational institutions possess pointed guidance, which is specific instructions about how things should be used concerning the use of generative AI in the classroom. And that was from UNESCO back in June of 2023. You've also got then that educators need really more AI knowledge and experience. 75% of educators say that they've never used AI. Only 7% say they've used it at work and can teach about its application, its bias, and its basic technical aspects. And I think that's really important. And that highlights again that the people responsible for educating students on AI have little to no experience really in the use of AI and how it should be used within the classroom. Furthermore, then, educators lack that professional learning on AI, and the vast majority of teachers and school officials who were sort of questioned as part of this research had not received any training on the use of AI in the classroom. Its ethical use, its appropriate use, knowing that about data arrangements and how data is shared, and that we shouldn't really be putting personal information into any of these AI tools because we don't actually know at the moment where some of that data goes. And I was reading, interestingly, a tweet last night about the AI sharing arrangements with Google Gemini, and that they are actually having people now read through some of the things that are shared. So if you're putting personal information in there, that's being shared with other people. And we're not fully aware now at the moment around data sharing arrangements. So we should be really mindful about the AI tools that we are using. Again, importantly, educators believe AI is important. 43% of educators believe AI education should be a priority. And I think as part of this this program, we'll get on to how we teach about AI in the classroom in our later sessions. Again, if we look at how educators and students not knowing how to use AI, 16% of teachers believe that students know how to use AI well, and 18% of teachers believe that they personally know how to use AI well. So there's a perceived lack of preparation of students and learners alike, and we need to address that moving forward as part of our professional learning support within our schools as well. When teachers were asked about how they use AI for work, well, 24% say they use some AI for work, 76% say that they never use AI for their work or their role. So the vast majority of teachers have not used AI. However, the teachers that have used AI are using AI in a positive way. So you can see here, lots of teachers are using it for planning and preparation, supporting with communication, that individualized instruction or personalization of learning, and then 46% are using it for other things too. When students are questioned, they can see the benefit of AI in the classroom. 73% of students say AI helps them better to understand the material that they have in front of them, what's been presented to them. And 67% of students say that AI helps them study faster or more efficiently. And I know there was a study recently in a workplace where they almost had two groups of people, one group working with AI, one group working without AI. And the group that used AI managed to complete, I think it was something like 23% more tasks than the group without AI in a week. So in terms of efficiency and productivity, AI is going to be massive in the workplace, and also as well for our learners. Now, for those students who are using AI tools in the classroom, lots of them highlighted the use of one-on-one tutoring, the ability to answer things like custom quizzes and forms, to have graphic summaries provided to them, and also to have that tailored feedback as well from the use of AI on things that they've written and coursework that they had done. And then when we consider AI and machine learning and the jobs market, it's really, really evident that AI and machine learning jobs are growing. AI or machine learning jobs, is a bit of a mouthful, will grow by 40%. And the World Economic Forum have also highlighted that there will be over 1 million new jobs in this field by 2027. So in 3 years' time, there's going to be a huge, huge gap in the market for people wanting to work with AI and machine learning. Then when we consider skills, and the LinkedIn Future of Work report talked about 25% of respondents said that the skills required for many jobs have changed since 2015. And then the skills required for many jobs is expected to have changed again by 65% in the next 6 years. So the job market has already changed and will continue to do so in the future. And if we think about the digital strategy for Wales, which talks about preparing our learners for the world of work and for skills and for jobs of the future, this is really, really important that we provide them with the skills and the resilience to be able to do that. And then the last little bit of data there that I think is really interesting, again, from the LinkedIn Future of Work report, AI experience is already becoming a marketable skill. And you can see there on the screen that globally, English language job postings mentioning GPT or ChatGPT have increased 21 times since November 22. So a huge, huge increase in the market. And I know that most organizations are spending huge amounts of money now on investing in AI in their businesses. So Just a bit of data there to share with you. I think it's really important to highlight the importance of AI and what it's going to do for us and for the world of work and for our schools moving forward. But let's focus now on what artificial intelligence actually is. And in that original video from Microsoft, they shared that artificial intelligence, or AI, is the ability of a computer or other machine to perform those tasks or activities that are normally thought to require intelligence. So just in the chat then, lots of things we're seeing in the media and in the news is around concerns around AI, but it'd be interesting to hear some of your current concerns around the use of AI in schools or in education or just AI in general. So if you have any concerns, please feel free to unmute yourself or pop your answers in the chat. So yeah, the authenticity, do you mean in terms of the authenticity of the work that they're completing, Martin? Yeah, reliability of information, and we'll come on to that in a little bit later, Justin. That's a really important point. Yeah, its use in politics and how it's going to be used to kind of influence people's thinking. I think we had that, huge scandal before with Cambridge Analytica, wasn't it, who were analysing data and those kinds of things. So, children understanding what is generated by AI and what isn't is going to be really, really important. Yeah, the generation of fake news, using AI tools to do things like that. So huge concern around that. I think lots of, I could be speaking for the secondary colleagues in the chat, but the use of AI tools to generate things like coursework or, again, even in further education on writing exams, those kinds of things, really important. Yeah, work not being done on their own and then they're not understanding what is actually being generated, just copy and paste. Yeah, Liz, you're spot on there, actually. I think, children plugging a question into ChatGPT or into any tool, having an answer given out and then handing that in as gospel and actually not spending that time to actually read through and understand what is right and what is wrong. So yeah, some really, really important points there. And there are lots of concerns. Thank you there. Yeah, de-skilling, lack of knowledge and understanding. Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely spot on there. I think, as part of what we do as part of this 4-session program, we'll look at how do we teach about children understanding the use of AI, developing their knowledge and understanding of it, and making sure that it's not de-skilling them as well. So fantastic. Thank you everyone for your responses in the chat there. Lots of concerns, but hopefully what we can do is kind of demystify some of those concerns as we move forward. So just on the screen there, I won't read out all the points, but some sort of highlighting of what AI is and what AI isn't. And I think we've already highlighted as at the start of this session that we're already using AI. And some examples of that may be things like when you're using your phone camera, it's much better than the old point and shoot ones because AI will now autofocus and adjust to low light or motion. Fraud alerts on our credit cards, they're noticed by sort of AI algorithms. Speech to text on your phone or in Google Docs or Microsoft Word, that's all AI. Whenever you kind of put directions and on Google Maps or Apple Maps, that is all supported by AI and making sure that they provide you the quickest route to that destination. And I think that's really, really key, that we're using AI in lots of different ways. What some of the concerns are is that AI is a sci-fi movie and it's only for people living in heavy tech cities, and that's not the case. It's going to be a part of our future and we need to teach about it and work with it. Just like computers or the internet, AI isn't going away. So with all the excitement or apprehension in some cases, it might be easy to forget that AI isn't new. Now, there's been several momentous milestones in this field that have brought us to this point that we see today for the potential use of AI. Now, AI has a long and storied history that spans many decades. Some of the earliest work in AI was done in the 1950s and 60s, when researchers first began to explore the possibility of creating machines that could think like humans. Now, during the 50s and 60s, AI research primarily focused on what was called symbolic AI, which involved creating a symbolic representation of knowledge and then using that to solve problems. Now, researchers in this field developed early versions of what are now known as expert systems, which are computer programs that mimic the decision-making abilities of human experts in a specific domain. In the 70s and 80s, AI research began to shift away from symbolic AI and towards something called sub-symbolic AI, which involves using statistical methods and mathematical models to solve problems. This shift was driven in part by the realization that symbolic AI was too complex and difficult to scale, and in part by the development of a new computer hardware that made it possible to process large amounts of data very, very quickly. In the 1990s and 2000s, AI research continued to evolve and new subfields began to emerge. One of these was machine learning, which focuses on creating algorithms that allow computers to learn from data without being explicitly programmed. Another was neural networks, which are mathematical models inspired by the structure and function of the human brain. Now, recently, those generative models like GPT-3 and DALL-E, variational autoencoders, generative adversarial networks, and many, many more things have risen and to continue to advance the field of AI. These models are now able to generate new examples that are similar to examples from a given data set. It is being used in diverse fields such as natural language processing, computer vision, speech recognition, and many, many more. And as you can see, overall, AI has come a long way since its inception in the 1950s. It's not new. It's not something that's just happened in the last 12 months. It's been around for a long time, and it will continue to evolve at a rapid pace moving forward. Now, education with AI can be exciting, and some of the tools that we're already using it for could be based around sort of personalized learning. With professional development, our teachers can increase engagement, offer more tailored differentiation in less time, move seamlessly between paper-based and digital learning with handwriting detection, automated rote tasks like attendance, and send regular parent communications. It could also help us to identify students who need extra support through data, such as supporting identification of gifted and talented students as well. What we're not trying to do with AI is replace teachers, and we see that a lot around that AI is going to replace teachers and de-skill teachers. They are essential for human connection and motivation, and I cannot overstate the importance of humans in this process. Humans are fundamental to teaching and learning. AI is a tool to support schools to solve problems. It can help us to support learning and ensure that our students are prepared for this digital age. Now, one of the things that we'll cover in one of our later sessions, and this is going to be really, really important, is AI literacy. Now, AI literacy is the collection of skills that a person needs to understand, use, and critically evaluate artificial intelligence. And I think someone said in the chat that it's going to be really important, as one of the concerns were around sort of that over-reliance, the authenticity, and also the lack of knowledge and understanding of AI as well. So this is where AI literacy will play a huge, huge part in the work that we do moving forward. AI literacy ensures that students know how to use AI through application, as well as the fundamentals of how it works in relation to computer science. But what if we do nothing? And I think doing nothing isn't really an option. Just like access of the internet or ensuring all skills have a computer, who gets to use AI is potentially the next digital divide. Some students will be taught to use AI responsibly and ethically as part of their learning, others will not. Some will have access to digital tutors and AI tools that will speed up their work, whilst also enhancing their learning through personalised experiences. Others will be restricted when the work world has already shifted to the AI reality. And I think it's really important now that in your schools, where we begin to introduce use of AI, that is happening consistently across the school, so we don't provide that digital divide as part of what we do. I'm touching back on some of the concerns and risks that we have. One of the biggest risks that we hear, and one of the most present risks that we hear, is how do we stop our children from cheating in our exams or in our tests? But the opportunity really is, how can we use AI tools to improve education? We worry about the future. We think about, will AI replace teachers? But the opportunity of that really is, how can we rethink education in an age of AI? How can we move to a place where we're using AI to really support teaching and learning in the classroom? Now, all of those questions on the screen there, they are true and they are real. And what we need to do is we need to address cheating and plagiarism, whilst also harnessing the opportunity to improve learning outcomes. We're not going to replace teachers with AI, but we may augment some of the instruction to empower you to focus on unique and valuable human insights and those student relationships that are so vital to engage learners in their learning. And I think on cheating, Nicholas Cole, a renowned writer in the digital field, said the following: if ChatGPT is cheating, then so is Google. And if Google is cheating, then so are giant libraries that house millions of words of text. And if libraries are cheating, then so is learning. And if learning is cheating, then, and so on. Every new technology has prompted the same argument: the sky is falling. But it never turns out to be true. It simply lowers the barrier to entry, and in the end creates more opportunity and abundance than before it existed. And I think that's really, really important. We always have those worries. I remember when like interactive whiteboards came in, it was going to change the world. New technologies will keep coming, and they'll come at a rapid pace now with this development of artificial intelligence. We need to keep on top of that as we move forward. Message received, Becky, no problem at all. So what are the risks and benefits? And this is one of the things that you may be thinking about in your school. On the screen there, a list of potential benefits and risks of using AI in education. I won't read through them all, but you can see from the team at Teach AI, these are the kinds of things that they've considered. And I think some of the concerns and risks that we've identified in the chat are highlighted there in the risks in terms of misinformation, over-reliance on some of the technology as well. And I think with guidance, as schools, we're going to realise the potential benefits of AI to improve those learning outcomes, to support teacher instruction, and also the quality of life and well-being of our educators as well. Without guidance, teachers, leaders, students could be exposed to things such as privacy violations, inconsistent disciplinary consequences, and also counterproductive AI adoption practices as well. So we need to make sure that as part of this work that we're doing now over the 4 sessions, we're getting to a point where we're developing robust guidance for our schools. Again, some benefits and related risks of AI in education, and just to highlight some of them. We've already kind of mentioned a couple of times around how AI can be used to personalize learning and how it can customize learning experiences for individuals, identifying and adapting to their learning styles, their strengths and their weaknesses. It may be able to recommend personalized coursework, adjust the pace of learning, and provide extra support in areas where students are struggling. If we think about efficiency and productivity, AI can automate many administrative tasks such as grading and scheduling, freeing up time for you as educators to focus on instruction and interaction with your students and being there in the moment in the classroom. We can also think about how it can provide interactive and engaging learning experiences. It can facilitate immersive and interactive learning. For instance, AI-powered virtual reality could provide virtual field trips, and AI-based games could make learning more fun and engaging. The list here around the benefits could go on and on. But in terms of some of the risks then, and I think, again, one of the things we picked up in the chat was the dependence on AI. If AI is used extensively in teaching, teachers may become overly reliant on it. This could lead to a reduction in the ability to teach effectively without it, which could potentially be problematic in situations where AI systems may be unavailable or do not work. One of the risks, again, and we have to highlight this, is that there are potentially losses of jobs in education or in the wider system, because AI could potentially automate some of the tasks currently performed by teachers, such as grading papers and administering tests. But the flip side of that is, if you free that time up, you then have more time to be creative and be, again, in the moment in the classroom. So lots of things to consider in terms of the risks and the benefits moving forward. So that's kind of an introduction to what AI is, and its benefits, its risks, and what it can and can't do for you in the classroom. So we're now going to shift our focus to what is generative AI, and this is one of the things that we may have seen a lot of. So now I'm just going to hand over again to a video from Microsoft introducing to us what generative AI really is. So just to kind of highlight then some of the key points in that video there. Generative AI is fairly new, and it's newer in the sort of education landscape. It is a subfield of artificial intelligence that focuses on creating systems that can generate new examples such as images, text, or speech that are similar to examples from a given data set. The goal of generative AI is to develop algorithms that can learn the underlying probability distribution of a given data set and then use that knowledge to generate new examples that are similar to the examples in the data that's been fed. Generative AI models work by using models to extract information from data, and then they use that learning to find the probability distribution. It can then, from that point, generate some new examples. Now, Microsoft talk about the 3 C's of generative AI, and with generative AI as a rapidly growing field, it has the potential to be used in a range of applications such as computer vision, natural language processing, speech recognition, and many more. It's easy to remember what generative AI can do by remembering the 3 C's: create, communicate, and code. So they're the 3 C's of generative AI, and if you want to remember what they can do, that's essentially what it can do. Now, AI or generative AI will be fed by something called a large language model. And again, to introduce this to you, here is a quick video from the Microsoft team. So again, to just summarize LLMs or large language models, it's a term that refers to AI models that can generate natural language text from large amounts of data. Large language models use deep neural networks to learn from billions or trillions of words and produce text on any topic or domain. Large language models also perform various natural language tasks such as classification, summarization, translation, generation, and dialogue. Natural language processing enables computers to understand and interpret human language. This type of AI is one of the most common, as it's used in things like chatbots, virtual assistants, and language translation software. Now, the new Bing Chat or Copilot or anything like that will be an example of an application using a large language model. ChatGPT, which we also mentioned earlier in the session, is also another example of a large language model. Now, in terms of types of generative AI platforms, there are a number of them out there, and this graphic here, which is provided by Dan Fitzpatrick in the AI Classroom, which is a really interesting and detailed read if anyone is interested in it, talks about here just some of the different types of generative AI platforms that are available. So things like text to image, where it will transform written words into pictures, helping us to create visual representations based on the textual descriptions. We have things like text to code, which will convert written instructions into computer programming code, allowing us to communicate with computers through that natural language. We've got things like text to 3D image, text to text, text to audio, audio to text, so on and so forth. So a huge amount of different types of generative AI platform that are now out there ready to use. But just some examples for you. Here's some text to text responses. So in Copilot, again, it was just provided a prompt, and in that prompt then it will provide me with a text response based on the prompt that I provided it. Lots of you will have probably seen text to image through the use of Adobe Firefly or through DALL-E or things like Midjourney, where you can create a prompt such as wanting to create an image of an educator feeling refreshed after our Christmas holidays, full of energy and excited to learn about more artificial intelligence. And it provides you with an image that looks something like this. You also have things such as text to audio, which I shared with you at the start of the session as part of the registration. But now you can place a text into one of these text to audio developers, and it will give you something that sounds like this. Now, historically, when we think of text to audio, we probably think of that robotic voice that kind of does everything in the same tone. As you're listening to that, you could hear the different types of intonation that she was giving on different words and how she was really expressing themselves as they go through. So really much more powerful than some of the text to audio tools that we used to have previously. You also have things like draw to image then. So this is me just creating a really quick sketch of some mountains with a sun and a sunset, putting in a little prompt, and then the image then that was created based on my drawing and the prompt that was given. So a huge amount of things that can be done with some of these generative AI platforms and things that you'll want to explore in your time. But what is available to you right now in the Hub platform that we know is safe, the data is safe, and everything that we use within it is safe? Well, the one key thing that you can use right now is the Adobe Creative Cloud Express, which is available to all learners in Wales. Now, within the Adobe suite, there is the ability to use generative AI using Adobe Firefly to create unique images based on the descriptions that you provide it. Now, Firefly has been trained on Adobe stock images that do not require copyright. So that version available in Express has been specifically built with primary and secondary schools in mind. This means that learners will not be able to generate images that are inappropriate from their descriptions. So it's safe, it's locked down within Hub, and it can be used by our learners now. So to find that, if you've not used it before, on the Hub dashboard, you will have the Adobe Creative Cloud option. When you open up Adobe Creative Cloud, on the far right of the main toolbar there, you will see the generative AI icon. And you can again put in some prompts there to generate images that look like this. So this is what I'm imagining now. You're all watching this session. There's me on the screen, and you're all sort of scurrying down all your notes around the use of AI in the classroom. But just to finish this off, before I share some further reading with you, a final video from the team at Microsoft. So just to say there, some of the things that have been shared as part of the videos today may or may not be available in your schools at present. I know that Welsh Government are currently reviewing the filtering standards and how AI can be used. So if you are going to be using any AI tools, be that in school or personally, just be mindful of the data that you're sharing. Make sure that the sites are safe and reliable. And before you dive into them, make sure you have conversations with your leadership, but also your local authority around data sharing arrangements and so on and so forth, to make sure that the tools you are using are safe and appropriate. And we'll come on to that in our guidance session, which is in a couple of weeks' time. So just a little bit of further reading then that you may want to go away and have a look at. I would highly recommend taking a look at the Teach AI website, so it's teachai.org. A number of massive organizations across the world, the Code.org, Khan Academy, Amazon Web Services, UNESCO have all kind of fed into this research and this piece of work. So a really, really useful website for you to go away and have a look at. I would also highly recommend accessing the Microsoft Learn Hub, and they have a hub dedicated to AI learning. So really, really useful resource for you to go and have a look at around how AI can be used using some of the Microsoft tools that are available. There's also then this article here by Michael Fullan and some of his colleagues around how artificial intelligence and school leadership and the challenges and opportunities that are available to you. And essentially, it talks about how the COVID-19 pandemic kind of accelerated digital learning, as we know. It talks about how school leaders, teachers, and students have had to adapt to virtual classrooms, online resources, and those kinds of things. It highlights the rise of AI, particularly generative AI, which we've discussed today, and how it's going to sort of begin to reshape the educational landscape. Talks about AI infusion into daily life and how that will have an implication on you as a school leader. Talks about challenges and opportunities, how it's been used over the last 40 years, and talks about then sort of data-driven and evidence-informed decision-making and how that can support you in your role in school. So a really, really interesting read that I would highly recommend you take the opportunity to look at. You can click on the link there and that will take you through to that reading. And the final little bit of reading that I found really useful is the AI Classroom by Dan Fitzpatrick. It's a really comprehensive guide around some of the tools that are available. But like I said, not all the tools suggested in there will currently be available on our systems, as there may be some web filtering things that we need to work through. So some interesting reading there to kind of go away with and take away with you as you move forward. So just to say a huge thank you to everyone for joining us today. I hope you found that really informative and a little bit of an introduction into what AI is and isn't, some of the things that we may consider using moving forward. Hopefully we've covered some of the risks and benefits as well. If I could just ask you all, if you wouldn't mind, just taking 2 minutes of your time to fill in the end of session evaluation. Which you can see on the screen here. I'll pop the link to that in the chat as well, just to provide some feedback on some of your commitments to ACT following today's session, and then to highlight any further support that you might require in this area. The link is now in the chat, along with the course code and the course title, if anyone would like to use that. So if you're happy to scan that. And just whilst you're filling that in, then I'd like you to consider your commitment to ACT. What things are you going to do following today's session? What things are you going to think about? Who are you going to share this information with, and how that's going to look moving forward? And once you've finished filling in your evaluation, just to highlight that our next session is on Monday, the 6th of March at 1:30 p.m. And that will look at developing AI guidance in your school. And the important thing to note here is not going to be policy. It's going to be more about guidance in your school and thinking about your current online safety processes. Are they robust enough to support the development of AI? If you've not yet signed up to that session and you'd like to, the QR code there on the screen will take you through to the registration for that session, and then you'll get a ticket through from Ticket Source. So again, just to say a huge thank you to all for joining. The 6th of March is a Wednesday, is it? Did I put the wrong date in? Thank you for highlighting that if I did. Wednesday, the 6th of March at 1:30. Thank you so much for that. I do apologise. Don't know why I put Monday. Wednesday, the 6th of March at 1:30. Thank you for highlighting that. So if you'd like to attend that session on Wednesday, the 6th of March, please do. But again, a huge thank you to you all for joining today's session. If you do have any follow-up questions, please do please do get in contact with me.